Pod in My Noggin, hosted by CK Sims, creating a platform to elevate, educate, and heal by creating a space where people can share their stories of struggle, triumph, and redemption. CKS Media.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Pod in My Noggin. I'm going to take these off because they're very distracting for the audience, because you can see my screen. But I am of the age now where I have to have progressives, and we're going to have to adjust. This week, we have Tommy A. Kilpatrick on the show, and he has some pretty big claims. Not necessarily something I would typically have on the show, but I'm intrigued and I'm interested. So you are the author of Forgive and Forget, How to Nuke Your Credit Card Debt, which is available on Amazon in Kindle and paperback. And then on top of that, you've done lots of work in the victim rights advocacy sort of area, and you have a website, www.diy-debtrelief.com. We'll put this in the description as well for everybody. So your bold claim is that there's a worldwide bank fraud. Tell us about that.
Sure. Well, give me some background is that I'm a retired teacher and I'm an author. And back a while, I wrote a book on health and healing. And in 2004, I was given an infomercial contract. So I was test marketed on radio for about 6 months. And I needed to live on my 3 credit cards. And it ran up about $85,000, and which is not a big deal when you're promised $100,000 a month. So then one of the talents, he got in trouble with the FTC, and he made some claims in his book that weren't true, and so they came down hard on him and the company, and my contract was canceled. So I was left with $85,000 of credit card debt. So I woke up one morning out of the fog and realized my dad was a certified public accountant, and I was studying to be one. I never got the credential, but I can do the work. And I realized the bank does not have an invoice, so I have no debt for the bank. And I have a memory from my accounting class. We read the book Modern Money Mechanics, and in there it says that banks accept a promissory note and they write numbers in your free checking account. I never signed a promissory note. And my father-in-law at the time was a judge and attorney, and we had long discussions about fraud undoes all contracts. So I do not have a contractual agreement with the bank. So I decided to file 3 federal lawsuits against the banks. And things were going along pretty good. And then all of a sudden we have coming up to a deposition. So the bank was going to send one of their employees to my office to answer all my questions and bring evidence of this debt that I claimed wasn't a debt. And the judge called me in, and not the defendants. So he said, Mr. Kilpatrick, do you have a credit card? Well, let me start at the beginning. We'll start at the beginning a little later. Do you have a credit card? Well, it started off as a gift card. A gift card. Pull your card out. I pull my card out. What's it say right there? Credit card. You're an idiot. Get out of here. So he dismissed my 3 cases. But a month later, I looked at my credit report, and all 3 banks were gone off my credit report. My credit report score improved. So explain that one to me.
Okay. So, all right. Catching up. So I'm trying to connect the dots. You had a gig that was going to be $100,000 a month for 6 months. Some shady things went down. You got canceled. You were left with $85,000 debt owing to the credit card company. So I think this is where I'm a little skeptical, but in a kind and polite way, of course. So you went after the banks. You filed 3 federal lawsuits. The judge ended up throwing out the cases, but then for some reason, the debt disappeared. Did the cards disappear with them, like the accounts?
They were off my credit report, and so I did not have any more of those credit cards anymore. I still had other credit cards, but those 3 I did not have anymore. They were valid. They were closed accounts.
So, I mean, okay, I'm skeptical, right? But at the same time, it would appear as though you might have struck a nerve.
Yeah, I think the banks don't want this to be known. So if it had gone to trial and I got a jury and a jury agreed with me and I'd have a court case, then it would be public knowledge and everybody could read my pleading and duplicate what I did. Because I'm not the smartest guy in the world. Other people must have figured out what I'm saying, and they must probably sign a non-disclosure. It's the only thing I can think of. And to agree with your skepticism, I'm a doubting Thomas, so I invite you and your audience to be a doubting Thomas, and don't believe a single thing I say today, okay? In the show notes, I have some links, and look up the links and see what I'm saying is true. But send this podcast to your certified public accountant or anyone who's had one class of accounting, and they'll tell you, well, I never thought it before, but yeah, this guy's right. The bank does not have an invoice. You never sign a promissory note, so never a loan, and fraud undoes all contracts. So that was my stating right from the beginning. But law is language, and language is law. So if you say you've got a credit card debt, you've got it. There's nothing I can do for you. This is not a get-out-of-debt scheme, okay? What I've discovered is the banks worldwide are committing bank fraud on us, and I am your victims' rights advocate. And I'll only help people if they get a third party verify what I say is correct. So I'm happy to speak to your attorney. Now, how many scammers want to talk to your attorney? I'd love to talk to your attorney, but I need your CPA to inform the brainwashed attorney who knows this is debt. You all have it. You can't live without it. It's debt. We prosecute you. We do this whole process. And I got to have the CPA say, no, there's no invoice. There's no debt. And federal banking regulations require a promissory note. You got to promise to pay it back. If you're not doing that, well, it's called a gift.
So I am in Canada, and so you're not. So this is worldwide, you're saying, or is it specific to America?
Worldwide.
So I'm trying to think now. When we fill out a credit application for a credit card in Canada, there is a terms and conditions that everyone just, and I do believe there is a card, I'm not sure which one, I don't think it's everyone, but there is a card that actually mentions promissory in it, in the application. So okay. My wheels are turning. So let's just say I have a credit card, I got $10,000 or something like that. So I went through and I filled out the application online to get a credit card. The institution, whether it was a bank or whether it was like I think Big Five Bank or one of the smaller boutique banks type thing, would have processed a credit authorization, like tried to figure out, like, am I credit worthy, if you will. And then they would have decided, I'm not sure if there's someone doing this or if now it's just all algorithmic, but we're going to give, CK Sims a card with $10,000 limit. So I get the card in the mail, and it comes with the paper that I don't know if anyone ever reads. Right? I'm walking through this in my own mind. And so I open up the card. I then activate it. Call to activate, do it online, whatever the situation may be. So what you're saying is, based on that, so all of those actions, the bank that offered me the credit card, there's fraud involved. Is that correct?
Well, you said the magic word. I was listening to you very intently. You said, and they gave me the card. That's the important word you said, okay? Let me ask you a question. Is it possible you, your audience, and me too, have been lied to, indoctrinated, and brainwashed? Is it possible?
Anything's possible. Have you looked at the state of the world right now? But okay. I'm listening.
So a lie is a lie, and we know what a lie is. It's very obvious what a lie is. But what happens if it's told generationally? Hey, CK, mommy says this is a credit card, and you have to pay it, or they take you to court, and you lose the case. There's no defense. And if you don't have any question it, then you're brainwashed. I'm not here to insult your audience or anything, but me too.
Of course not.
So if you question, all I'm asking you to do is add the word allege. So if you say there's alleged credit card. Now you're putting the burden on the bank to prove that there's a debt. When you go into a courtroom and you say, I've got credit card debt, you've got it. There's nothing you can do. You're using the language of the criminal. And many people out there have the Stockholm syndrome, where they will repeat back to me all the arguments of the bank, and they have taken on the abuser. I am a victim's rights advocate. I'm trying to help you understand that you are a victim. You do not owe the money, and there is no debt, because you said it. They gave me the card. You didn't buy it. You didn't rent it. You didn't borrow it. You didn't steal it. They mailed it to you. And that's what it is a gift.
No, you know what's so interesting? I have to be honest with you. We had to reschedule for valid reasons. Prior to, like today, leading up to this call, to this show, I was like, oh gosh, I hope he cancels. I'm not sure I'm ready for this. But okay, so, and I told you right before we started that I was going to be the antagonist. And so, like, you're speaking a language that's actually making sense to me now for some reason. So, like, all right, I think we need to get into the nitty gritty now of what this means. Because for me, I'm going to summarize back what I'm understanding that you said. So when I told you my series of events, that I'm like, I went online, I applied to a card, I agreed to the terms and conditions, they ran a credit bureau, they decided the amount, then they sent me a card, I got the card, and I activated it, okay? So that, to me, in my brain, and I am recognizing that this is, the common belief system, okay, right? I'm recognizing in my brain that there's agreements, like just common sense agreements, I guess, if you will, that's the terminology I would refer to. We've entered into a partnership where they're lending me an amount that I can use at my leisure, as long as I repay it, that sort of thing. But you are indicating that because they sent you the card, it is in fact a gift, and there is no debt. And that if I were to go to court with this and say I walked in and I said, I have credit card debt, well, then I have credit card debt because I am now speaking the language of the burdened, right? But if I reframe what I'm saying to I have alleged credit card debt, then the burden of proof falls to the lender or the bank in this case. And then it changes the framework of what we're thinking. And what I find fascinating actually is the presentation in how you're wording certain things, because you're talking about generational belief systems, right? We see it right now, not to bring up current U.S. issues, but we see it right now in white Christian nationalism. These are nuclear family beliefs that go back generations, that the country is founded on Christian values and that we need to return there. And I'm not saying disagreeing or whatever. I'm just saying, but we do know that that is a generational belief. It's been passed down over and over and over, and it creates this massive echo chamber where you feel fortified in what you believe. So if we look at that and apply it to what you're explaining, then the same sort of psychological process actually happens. So it's because we're not taught to question. That's the part that I'm interested in. I'm mindful of time too, but I just want to clue this up before we get in the nitty gritty. But we're not taught to question the big banks or the laws or the things like that. How is it in 15 minutes you have taken me from antagonist to potentially I'm invested in hearing the nitty gritty, that to understand now the technical sort of terms. We have to head to break real quick, but we're going to be back in just a moment.
Partner today with CK Sims and Pod in My Noggin to get in front of an audience that cares. You will be supporting mental health stories, tales of resilience, and uplifting content, aligning your brand with bringing goodness, authenticity, and kindness front and center. This spot could be yours. Do you have a story of struggle and resilience? One that you want to share with others and possibly help someone through their own struggles? Find the link in the show description and fill out the guest form today.
Welcome back, everybody. Before the break, we have been talking to Tommy A. Kilpatrick, who is the author of I Have to Forgive and Forget, the guide, how to nuke your credit card debt. Forgive and forget how to nuke your credit card debt. As I mentioned at the top of the show, wild claims. Essentially, if you have alleged credit card debt, you don't technically. He could work with you if you were to get a CPA that you know to talk to an attorney to let them know that there is no promissory note. It's deeper than this. Tommy's going to take some time now, and he's actually going to go into the nitty-gritty of how this works, so that we can all understand and potentially make changes in our own lives.
You described everything exactly correct. Remember how you took this through the whole scenario? You filled an application all the way through. All of that is 100% correct on a true credit card, all right? This is not a get-out-of-debt scheme, okay?
Okay.
This only works for bank-issued alleged credit card debt, all right? So what's the other kind? What's the true credit? Let's say you need tires for your car, and you go to a tire store and you find out how much it is. Oh my gosh, I don't have that. And they say, oh, CK, just fill out an in-store credit card application. And if you're approved, great. And you are, fantastic. They put tires in your car, you drive away, and you didn't pay for those tires. You didn't pay for the service to balance them and put them on your car. Am I right? You didn't pay it.
Correct, yeah.
They extended you credit. Cred is a Latin word, means to believe, so that tire store believed you were going to pay them back. You get a statement at the end of the month, which is true. And in there, they have an unpaid, outstanding invoice, which is true. And you owe the money, CK. You got to take your pocket money, pay them. Take it out of your pocket, and you got to send it to that store. Because you took their product, you took their service, and you didn't pay for it, so you have to pay, okay? What I'm saying is that people that have come to me, and they say, well, I bought tires at Walmart. I had them do, and you're telling me I don't owe that? That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is look at the card. Look at Amazon, Walmart, any department store. If on the back it says issued by Bank of America, Citibank, Wells Fargo, Bank of Canada, Bank of London, Bank of India, Bank of Tokyo, it's a phony card because this bank is not a merchant. It never sold you goods and services. They don't have an invoice. There is no debt. And American Express, look it up, it's a bank. So even though American Express card doesn't say bank, you look it up and they are actually a bank.
So, all right. So let's get my mind struggling. Okay. So are you saying that we have to pay the person at the no, because the bank would have paid the person for the tire, right?
So
when we filled out the application, the bank would have paid the person. But now our relationship with the bank is not technically real because it's not a merchant.
That's right. Think about this. 100 years ago, you went to the general store and you said, hey, Charlie, I need 5 pounds of flour, a pound of sugar, and I'll pay you when my crops come in. Oh, yeah. Oh, Charlie, can I borrow $10,000? What am I, a bank? There's a difference between a bank that does loans and a merchant who does services and products that you have to pay. That is they have an invoice that shows the date, what it is, the taxes, the shipping, the terms and conditions. It's all on that invoice. And that's what, see, I have an experience you may never have had. I was, my first job was an accountant. And the CFO, which is the CPA, walked up to me and pointed a finger in my face and said, if you pay from a statement, I'm going to fire you. So that put an impression on my mind. He says, we only pay from invoices. And look over here in the corner, it's only approved. We have to have the department head approve that this product did come in. Because recently, this one guy sent out invoices to Microsoft and to Amazon, and they looked legitimate invoices, and he got millions because they paid. They didn't
I read
verify
I
it was
read
even,
that.
it was bogus, and he made millions. So that's what I'm saying is that the banks, it's a difference. We divide the knowledge in half. So we have store issued, a merchant issued credit card is a true credit card, and you owe that money. If it's issued by a bank, the bank could have never done any goods and services to you. So now you're saying a loan, and you said the word application. So let me ask you a question, CK. If you apply for a loan and you're turned down, do you still get the loan? No, that's crazy, right? I say that for a reason. When you apply and you're approved, you then go into the bank and you fill out loan documents, right? So
Yes.
application means a request, only that you're asking. It's not a contract. It is not a promissory note. It's not terms and conditions. Okay? That's where they trick you with the word. So you apply, that's fine. You apply for a credit card. You think it's a credit card. And they go through the whole motion, like you said, okay? And they send it to you. But my position is that when you have to go for a loan, you have to prove income. Remember all those loan documents you filled out? Yeah. So think about this. The bank is brought in to the court, and the judge says, you're loaning money to people who don't even have an income. So you have to prove that you're going to be able to pay this loan back. Okay. You also have to have collateral, because what if you don't pay? The bank has got to take something away from you legally, like your car, your house, or if you put your yacht up for a personal loan, they can take that away from you legally, sell it. If they come up short, that's their problem. If they come up long, they don't get to keep the extra money. They got to give you back what is taken from you. So that is the whole point, is the banks never issued you a loan. The credit card is not that. You also have to have a credit report. Like you said, your credit score determines your interest rate. But the last thing you do is you sign a promise to pay it back. It's called a promissory note. So if you didn't sign a promissory note, there wasn't ever a loan, which is required by federal or your government regulations. You have to have some kind of promise to pay it back, or it's a gift,
So how is this not bigger than it is then?
which is not bigger than it is.
Like, how is it? Like, I mean, that's the part that I think I'm struck on now is that if the banks know this loophole exists, is that why you're in the Philippines? Because they tried to chase you down?
No, I say to the people when they ask me why did I come here, I say Naga Pangita sa asawa. I came here looking for a wife, so I have a
And
fiance now.
and when you are okay, so now
Let me run it through for you. What's happening? Okay, it might probably be
okay,
very simple. Banks advertise to get customers, right? Of course they do.
mhm.
Years ago, they purchased wall clocks and toasters and had them in the bank. Your mom came into the bank and they said, "Oh, Mrs. Sims, if you open up an account today, we'll give you a toaster." She brings it home. Your dad comes home from work. How did we get a new toaster? The bank gave it to us. Well, what did it cost? Nothing. Nothing. Why would the bank buy a toaster and give it to us? To open an account. Oh, okay. Now, there was an ad in the paper. I saw it. It said, come into our bank and deposit $25 and we'll match it in 90 days. So what did I do? I took my $25, put it into my savings account, waited 91 days, went to the bank and withdrew $50 and closed my account. I got a question for you, CK. Did I rip off the bank? Did I steal $25 from the bank?
No,
No.
I don't
Was
think
that
so.
immoral? Was that immoral what I did?
No,
No, I don't. I fulfilled what they said and I did it. In the show notes on link number 4, there's a guy on YouTube that says, do this. I've made $361. So he's so proud that he's telling you how to do this. I just told you what I did. So it's the same thing with a $500 credit card from Capital One. They sent it to you. They gave it to you as a inducement to get you to be a customer. So what's the big deal about being a customer? They make $23.04 on average. Look it up yourself. How much does the average person pay in credit card fees? And it comes out to be $23.04. So if Bank of America has 1 million cardholders, They're bringing in $23 million a month, and it's about 1/4 of their profits. So I figured out it's about 1/4 of their profits from an illegal scheme to get you to pay $23.04 on average per month for a free checking account. Because that's how you do a loan, right? You sign a
Now,
promissory note,
question.
they write numbers in your free checking account.
Is it illegal or is it in the gray area? Because I feel like if it was illegal, fully illegal, then they would not be able to do it. Somebody would have figured something out at some point at this point. But is it in that sort of legal gray area where there's a loophole that they do this?
They are the criminal. I'm trying to wake you up saying you're the victim. I'm your victim rights advocate, and so there is a way to resolve this. Okay, so what we do is let's just think this through. Okay, so the card comes in the mail. You applied. You didn't apply. It came pre-approved. It doesn't matter. You got what I call a gift card. So if you use the language of the criminal, you got a credit card. If you use my language, what I think is the truth, that sure sounds true, it came to me as a gift. So what did you do with a gift card? CK, what would you like for, if I sent you a $500 gift card, what would one thing you want to buy right now?
Books, probably. Books. What? Lots of books.
Books? Okay, so you go to, let's say, Amazon, and you use your Bank America card. If you think of the Bank America card, credit card, but I'm calling it a gift card, and you buy $500 worth of books. One book is $500. You buy the one book you've always wanted to have. So before they ship it, do they pay for it? Yes. They put a receipt that you have paid for this book in full, right? You own that book. When it comes to you in the mail, you open up the box, you own that book. People can't take it away from you. Are you going to get a statement at the end of the month from Amazon for an outstanding unpaid invoice?
Yeah.
No, you're never going to hear from them. You have a receipt. You own the book, right? So how would Amazon ship you that book? Because they know they're being paid that night or the next day for $500 by who? Who paid Amazon? The bank, right? So Bank of America, how did they get the money? Where'd the money come from? Their advertising budget, just like the toaster, just like the wall clock, just like matching money. So they figure out a scam to make you think you're getting a credit card, you can't get credit from a bank. They think then you say, oh, I got a loan. You didn't fill out any documents. There's no possible way that it would be a loan. And you didn't promise to pay it back. So you're a good person. You're a moral person. You see this statement, which I said in the very beginning, that CFO said, if you pay from a statement, I'll fire you. So you don't know this. You've been lied to, indoctrinated, and brainwashed. So you say, oh, it's a bill. I got to pay it. So from Bank of Canada, you write a $500 check out to Bank America. Now, isn't that the first time Bank America has ever seen your money?
Mm-hmm. I do see what you're saying.
Right.
So now,
that's what. Let me finish. Really quick. So that $500 went to the bank. The banks are only about loans. So when you have no money and you go into a bank and you come out with money, that's by a loan. When you take money and put it into a bank and leave it there, it's a loan to the bank. Every purchase you've made since then has been with your own money. You have put money into the checking account. They let it sit there, and now your gift card turns into a debit card. It's a checking account. You don't get checks, but all you can way to access your money is through your debit card disguised as a credit card.
Okay. We're at time, but if somebody wants to learn more, go to your website.
Sure.
And they can.
Well, it's easy enough. Tommy A. Kilpatrick on Facebook. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. And in the show notes is an email. So if you have a free 15-minute consultation with me, I give you my $69 book for free. So contact me. I'll send you the book, and it explains how to do this. Because all you do is send a letter to the bank, and in 45 days, it's off your credit report. Or actually, I asked the bank to make it say closed by the consumer in good standing. And if they don't do that in 45 days, then we have the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which they have to. And the same thing in Canada, too. They have to remove fraudulent items off your credit report. And that's where we have the evidence, because we have the crime, and we have your credit report is the evidence of a crime. We have you fill out complaints to the state and federal authorities. So now it's all resolved in 45 days or 90.
Okay. Well, definitely worth researching more and figuring out. I totally get what you're saying. You're speaking the right language to create the synapses that, like that sort of thing. But there is that still sort of like, generational thing that sits with me. But for anybody who is interested, I will link in the show notes as well how to get in touch with Tommy. And I think it's a pretty cool offer because I think I heard you say a free 15-minute consult gets your $69 book for free.
Absolutely.
Which is a pretty cool bonus there. I want to thank you very much for being a guest on Pod in My Noggin. And for everyone else out at home, till next time, I want you to get out there and live your wildest dreams.
For media and sponsorship inquiries, email info@cksims.com or visit cksims.com and fill out the contact form. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. A new episode airs every Saturday. CKS Media.